What is going on YouTube? This is gonna be my first video in like 2 years. I am 6 weeks out of my next meet. That is IPL World Championships. I'm real excited for this one. I'm competing at 181. So good things are to come. I'm not really worried about winning or placing. I mean, it would be awesome if I did, but I'm going into the most competitive weight class under, I don't know, I guess 200 pounds. 198 is pretty up there, but the 181s is that weight class that the big dudes like to cut into. So we'll see. I mean, I just want to get a nice PR total. I want to try to break 1450, 1400 at the least. Right now I'm at 1370. I got a lot of work to do. Got a lot of strength to potentialize. I'm moving into my second phase of my program, which is essentially strength actualization before a peak. I'm just running Bulgarian, so I've got 3 weeks of Bulgarian, moving forward into a 2-week peak and then a 1-week deload. I will give a quick chat after I'm done training. I'm thinking of working up to between 455 and 475 for a quick single. Squats have been moving pretty good despite this cold. Friday I hit 405 for 4 sets of 5, which I don't think is a PR, but it felt pretty good. The exertion was pretty good, so it felt like I was moving some decent weight. Being that I am not the biggest dude and I'm not the strongest dude in the world, that's pretty good for me, coming from my background. So looking forward to it. I'm gonna try to film my top sets, my warm-ups. You guys don't really give a shit about, so I'm gonna hit squats, then I'm gonna hit competition bench, then I might do some accessories, and we'll go from there. We'll talk to you in the next clip. So I just finished up squats. 475 for, I would say, a pretty easy single. I didn't feel too exerted. You RPE guys might call it like a 7.5 to 8.5. I'd be okay with that personally. I don't use RPE. I just go off of how it felt. If you saw the end of that clip, kind of contemplated going for a double, but right now I still got this cold. I don't really want to push too hard. I still got plenty of time before the meet, so that went real good. The thing that I'm having an issue with lately is my hip. If you notice, my left leg, right on the angle of filming, my left leg likes to knock in a little bit more than my right. I'm not 100% sure why. I think it's my adductors being very tight. I've been working on that lately. I've been working on that very diligently. A lot more warm-up stuff, a lot more glute activation to keep the stress off of any soft tissue or inactive tissues. So it doesn't feel like it's any type of joint ache or tendon ache. If you've followed me at all before, you know that I am a 9-year hurdler, middle school, high school, all the way into college. I'm not that tall. I'm only about 5'8", 5'9", and I wasn't that tall back then. So for me, my adductors became very, very strong, and I've got a lot of meat on the inside of my legs. And I've just kind of come to grips with the fact that I'm gonna have a little bit of knee cave, but as long as it's even on both sides, it doesn't affect my hips, or it doesn't cause any pain. But as of lately, my right's been moving really smoothly, and I haven't had too many issues with it. But the left one has been coming in a little bit more than I would like. I'm still working on it. It's not nearly as bad. That 475 looked pretty good, so I'm not too worried about that. But going into bench, I'm feeling pretty good. Gonna try to hit 275, 285, nothing too crazy, but that's still on the top end for me. I'm not a very strong bencher, so I will update you after that.
To the stage, I'm gonna play my heart out there. I'm gonna play it. You're far too fast. Thanks. Good night, everyone.
Okay, so just finished up with bench. Got 285. Pretty happy about that, considering that was my top bench for my last meet. Moved really fast, actually. I'm not so sure why it moved so well, considering it was a grinder at the meet. Anyways, so training went well. Wasn't too difficult. You might see some inconsistencies with my bench, and that's fine. My bench sucks. I already know that. You don't gotta tell me. Yes, I arch like a rubber band. I know that. For whatever reason, that's always how I've benched, even before I got into powerlifting, even in high school when I was just running track. I've always benched on my toes. It's the only way it's felt comfortable for me and locked in. So things are moving good. I'm actually feeling real good about this meet going into it, especially with this training block and all that. So I'm gonna try to be a little bit more aggressive with my bench this prep compared to the last one. The last one I was able to hit 305 7 to 8 weeks out from my meet, and then I just couldn't make it happen on the platform, so I was kind of frustrated about that. But things are moving pretty good, and yeah, that was Monday. So I will check in with you guys either later with what I'm going on, or just tomorrow with training. Like I said, I'm running a Bulgarian style training block. So for me, what that entails is I'm using bits and pieces of each type of training and adapting it to myself and what I know will work for my own body. I've tried the Bulgarian lifestyle training from Strength Theory's book, the Bulgarian manual or whatever, and I really liked it. So what I like, the way I adapted it, or the way it made sense to me, was you set up a minimum and then you set a maximum. Every week you hit your minimum. So that's the goal. If you can hit the maximum, go for it, as long as it moves quickly and you're not too fatigued. But the goal is hit the minimum, and every week that minimum goes up 5 to 10 pounds. So with the squat, I believe it's 10 pounds each week. Oh, I'm getting a little wobbly there, sorry. So with the squat, it moves up 10 pounds each week. So it's really not that much, but it builds up over time until you get to a point to where it's the same number over and over again. But anyway, so you set your maximum at like 85%, and you set your minimum, it's 85 to 90. So wherever feels comfortable there. And then you set your minimum relatively conservative, so like 75 to 80%. And the goal is between 75 and 80% needs to move very fast. So that's the idea. That number is constantly going up. So that's your minimum. What I did was I had numbers in my mind that I want to start with. My minimum for squat is 455. My minimum for bench is 265. My training max I haven't established yet. I'm just going to go from there. So if I feel good after 455, I'm going to go for more and then see how it feels after that. My minimum for bench is 265. Same thing, see how it feels and go from there. But essentially, I'm trying to be a little bit aggressive, but not so aggressive that it kills me. I'm also not doing the drop down sets that the Bulgarian manual highlights. So I'm not doing a 3x3 after my top set. I'm just working on that upper threshold numbers. So that way, when I go to hit 100% maxes, I'm relatively familiar with the weights. That's one thing that I've noticed with a lot of new lifters. They don't have practice with that upper threshold. They'll do a ton of reps and they'll get close with percentages. They'll do like tons of 5x5s and tons of like 3x3s and stuff like that. But once it gets down to that like sets of 1, sets of 2, or competition maxes, they don't know how to handle the weight because they haven't done enough reps in that threshold within their lifting time. And that was my problem as well. I ran Wendler for a very long time, but I built a ton of size and a ton of strength. But what happened was I started getting very unfamiliar with maxes that I should be able to hit. So let's say I would calculate my rep outs to a certain point, and I would say this is what my theoretical max should be. And people usually say anything after 5 reps, you don't really count. You can count it and calculate it, but it's not going to be accurate. So it's 5. It's pretty off. But even in sets of 2 and sets of 3, the calculation I couldn't get. So what I tried was doing more work with sets of 1, sets of 2, multiple sets of 1, that 90-95% range. Not every week. Scheduling those within the training blocks toward the later end when I'm getting ready to peak, getting real familiar with that 90%, so that way when I go for 100 or 102 or 98 or whatever or what have you, I'm not unfamiliar with the way it's going to feel on my back or in my hands or at lockout in the deadlift, stuff like that. And I've noticed that it works really well for me. So that's what I'm doing. This is going to be a good prep, I think. This cold's going to be gone, and probably by Thursday it feels like it's going away now. Strength is there. That's a good sign for me. Usually my strength is kind of down, or my ability to continue doing reps is down. But I hope you enjoy the series. I hope you enjoy the videos. I hope you like the video. I hope you share the video with anyone that's curious about training. I'm going to be doing a lot more information stuff as time goes on, as I receive feedback. And yeah, so stay tuned, guys. Have a good one.